Hi, I'm Jesse at Strobepro.com, and today I'm going to be showing you the Strobepro Rapid Snap softbox series. These are the lightest and most compact softboxes that we've ever made. They're awesome on your strobe lights, but they're also great on LED video lights. The best thing about these softboxes though, is how they snap together. Let's take a closer look at the Strobepro Rapid Snap softbox series. I've grabbed one of our previous version Rapid Pro softboxes just to show you one of the biggest differences here. So if I turn these side to side, this being the Rapid Snap and this being the Rapid Pro, you can pretty easily see how much space the new Rapid Snap is going to save. And we've had a lot of customers request that. One of the biggest issues that you guys have is transporting gear, trying to find a way to carry it on to a shoot, and it just gets cumbersome when you have 4, maybe 5 softboxes. Not that these are huge, but this saves you half the space. So you can carry 2 of these to every one of these, which really makes a difference. And actually the weight is about 25% lighter on the Rapid Snap as well. And if you're traveling, even on airlines or that, which a lot of our customers do, every little bit of weight makes a difference. So let me show you where we save some of that weight and show you a couple of differences in the new Rapid Snap. Every Rapid Snap softbox, whether you get a 24x36 or you get a 36-inch Octa, whatever it is, they're all going to come in a flat bag like this. And it's really nice. It just has a zipper on the end, pretty straightforward. Open that up and your softbox is there along with your package of diffusers. And as you can see, that folds very flat. Now the biggest thing you're going to notice right away is this speed ring. It's completely different. You've probably never seen that before. No, it's not broken. It's a whole new design and it's an easy way to set up this softbox. So let's take a look at how we set that up right now. I have 3 softboxes on the table and I'm going to show you the differences on how those are a little bit different to set up. But all of the mechanisms are the exact same. So there's just a couple little nuances I wanted to show you. And we have basically 3 different categories of softbox sizes. We have like our square rectangle softboxes. So something like this one here, which is a 2 foot by 3 foot. We have our octagon boxes, that's a 36, and then we have our strip boxes in a number of sizes as well. So let's start right here. This is a 36-inch Octa, and you can see on this mechanism, they all fold in half right here. And when you take it out of the box, essentially what you have is some rods that need to drop down into the side. Now I can do this really quick, but I just want to show you. Sometimes it's easier just to give it a bit of a shake so those loosen off. And essentially I'm going to just be pulling that down and then it's going to snap together, hence the Rapid Snap name. And so if you have any rods or anything that are binding, what you just need to make sure is that they're sliding in the slot. So if it's new, it might be folded up like that or you've thrown it back in. Usually they just drop down like that, so it's pretty easy. And then you just, again, pull it, snap it. It's quite obvious when it snaps in. There's no in between. It either snaps or it doesn't. And then to release it, it's really easy. We just have this little push button here and you push that in. What you don't want to go do is just push this without holding it. I like to just hold that or pinch that together, push the release, and then I can slowly let it out rather than just going here, and I'll do this just to show you, pushing it and flicking it out. You're going to snap your finger in there or something like that. So just be cautious of that. Hold that together when you're releasing it. So obviously an Octabox has the most number of ribs in it. This is our 24x36, so a very popular size here as well. And you can see there's not as many rods, but it's the same concept. Give that a little shake, it's going to come down. And if that's binding at all, you just move it into place to give it a little help. Push it together, and there you go. Now you can see that that softbox installs sideways like that. It's just how we position these rods. So this release might be on the side, it might be on the top, just depending on the size that you use. So again, really easy. Hold that together, release it, and you're good to go. And then finally, We have a strip box here, very similar to the 24 by 36 there. And you don't want to pull from this side. You always want to have this kind of half speed ring facing you. And just pull it again towards me, snap it into place, and it's as easy as that. From there, you can adjust the back fabric to close in any gaps if you want. This little elastic band will kind of go around the speed ring like that, just to secure it. But even if there's a little bit of a gap there, it's not going to really make a difference for you. So we'll close that one down. And then when they're open like that, you can just take the rods, go like that. I like to wrap the fabric around there. And we're ready to take a look at the different type of speed ring options. Let's take a look at a few of the different speed ring options that we have for the Rapid Snap softbox series. Just like the Rapid Pro series, we have interchangeable speed rings. Now, by default, most of you are probably going to be picking up the Bowens mount, which is this 3-prong bayonet system. And that's probably the majority of the lights out there now that are using this. But just to cover you, we have 4 other options. Again, in the Rapid Pro series, we had, I think it was 10 or more. But some of those are pretty obscure now. So like some of the older Normans and Broncolors and that, we really don't sell a lot of them. So we've thinned that out, just carrying the top 5 here, which is probably 99% of all of the ones that we previously sold in the Rapid Pro series. So again, we have Bowens. We are also carrying Pro Photo. We have Alien B, Einstein, or White Lightning actually. We have an Honeycomb ring. And we've actually added a Godox proprietary mount. Now, on the drop down on the website, you'll see that Bowens and Strobepro, Bowens, Strobepro, and Godox actually can take a Bowens mount, but Godox actually has their own mount, which is this small one here, and it's only used on a couple of lights, so like the 80-400 Pro, the 80-300 Pro, and there might be some new lights that are added to that in the future. It's just a really small compact mount. So just be aware of that. We've tried to indicate it on the website that this is not the actual mount you want if you're mounting to most Godox lights. It's a Bowens that you want. So just be aware of that. One of the nice things is you can still rotate the speed ring. We have a thumb screw right here. So once you put this on the light and mount it, you loosen that off and the speed ring is going to rotate. So you can go in a horizontal orientation or a vertical, whatever you want. Now I wanted to show you quickly how to actually change a speed ring. It's really easy. And what I normally do is take that thumb screw out. So I'm just going to back that all the way out. And there's a washer under there as well, which holds the lip. So I'll just dump that out. And then I'll grab a screwdriver here. And you want to be careful. This is a Phillips screwdriver or a star. And I'm just going to the next screw here, loosening that off. And normally you only need to take 2 out completely because you can slide the speed ring out. You might have to loosen off the other 2, but you can see there, I just unslid it from these back 2 screws. And now say I want to put this Honeycomb mount in here, I can usually slide it under just like that. Then I'm just taking my thumb screw. Again, don't forget the washer here. And the thumb screw hole is a little bit bigger, so if you're wondering which one goes in there. So I can screw that down. And then our washer and our other screw. We just put that guy back where we found it. And you can see, like in just under a minute, we can change that speed ring from a Bowens mount to an Honeycomb mount. So now you can use it with whatever lights you have. That's a great thing because now you don't have to repurchase the entire softbox. You can pick these speed rings up really inexpensive. So maybe you got a couple Pro Photo lights that you had in the past. You're changing over to some Godox lights. This makes it really easy and inexpensive to do that. Lock our thumb screw in and we're good to mount this onto the actual strobe. Okay, we're going to install our 24 by 36 Rapid Snap onto our 8600 Pro. I'm going to be using the Bowens mount here, which is this 3-prong. You might have picked up one of our other mounts. So it might install a little bit differently, but this is the most popular one by far, so I'll show you that. So we just need to snap that together. So again, just flip it upside down like that. Make sure the rods are dropping into place and snap it together. Now before I actually mount this onto the light, I want to make sure that my thumb screw is tight, because if I try to install this and this is loose, it's just going to rotate around. And I'm just going to go over here to the light, and be careful not to destroy your modeling lamp. Line that up and give it a quarter turn, and that's going to lock in. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can mount a softbox to a light. I've had people in the comments before saying, that's not how you do it. You put the softbox on the ground and then you put the light into it. Well, that's great until you're in the middle of a shoot and you want to change your softbox to something, and then you have to take your light down and your softbox and everything else. So if that's how you like to do it, go ahead. I find that they get dirty and damaged being on the ground all the time. So I always like to just install this from behind. It's easy to line it up and you don't have to worry about it. Once it's mounted on there, you can loosen that thumb screw, and now we can rotate that softbox to wherever we want to aim it exactly where we need to on set. To take it off, it's really just as easy. I'm just sliding my fingers in behind here, so kind of in this position here, to grab the speed ring, pull our release lever, give it a quarter turn the other way, and pull it straight out. So very simple. I know a lot of you are going to be tempted to install this way, to mount it like that. Now it can be done, I just don't recommend it. It puts extra stress on the softbox, and my bigger concern is that you're going to smash a modeling lamp or a flash tube. So let me just show you the reason why. This is an 8600 Pro, as I mentioned. You might have like a QS or a QT series where it's got a halogen bulb, which sticks out even longer. So if you put this on and I pop this off, this clears this flash tube, which is fine, but you might have a longer one. If you did that and just popped it out, it's going to smash it into pieces. So if you are doing it, just be sure to test that you have one that's going to fit. And in this position, it puts extra stress, so I would just have to loosen and then drop that down if I wanted to move this quickly through a door without removing the softbox. So just a couple of words of caution there. If you are going to do that, be sure you just follow those steps that I just showed you. Here's a quick tip for any of our studio photographers. I have 6 softboxes in my hand here, and you can see how they kind of nest together. All you would need to do, put a rod on the wall, slide these onto the wall, and you have 6 softboxes ready to just slide off one at a time if you need them quickly. Every Rapid Snap softbox comes with 2 diffusers. We have our inner diffuser and then our outer diffuser, which I'll show you in a second. Now you don't always have to use the inner diffuser. This is going to soften the light even more. It takes almost up to a stop of light off of that. So if you're using a low powered light, especially like an LED, I probably wouldn't use the inner diffuser. It's really nice with strobes sometimes when you don't have to worry about as much power loss. It's really easy to attach. We just have Velcro on the corners, and obviously I'm installing on a 24 by 36. It's the same concept whether you're doing a strip box or an Octa box. With the Octa, you're just going to have more attachment points. So all you need to do is just go to the Velcro and pretty simply just tag it on there. And you can control the depth of it however you want, but you don't have to be too picky. Just go to those 4 points in there and lock it in. So if you attached it up there and you don't like that, obviously it's not a big deal. You can just pull it off and attach it. So there you go, that's installed. And one of the nice things about the Rapid Snap that I didn't mention before is that there's no inner mechanism anymore. So with the Rapid Pro series, we had the umbrella mount sticking out. So we had a hole in the middle of here which had a grommet, so you had to slide it through there. So if you wanted to gel this, for example, you could buy our optional gels, and you could just gaff them right in. You could attach them essentially onto this diffuser if you wanted to. But the great thing is you can get right close down to the light, just tape a gel in there or around the flash tube even. So having no mechanism is also nice for video because you have no rods to get in the way to cast any shadows. Not that it was a huge issue with the Rapid Pro, but it's just an even better option if you are going to use video. So now let's attach the outer diffuser. The outer diffuser is easy to attach as well. You just have Velcro edges down the whole thing. Now there is a front and a back to this, so you want the smooth side facing out. Anything with the Velcro should be going in. So with a 24 by 36 softbox, it's really pretty easy. Just go up to the top here and drop this in. I'm going corner to corner. And once I get there, I kind of just go like this to close up the gaps, trying to get that as straight as possible. So you might have noticed right away that I put this basically in the middle. And this is a little bit different than the previous Rapid Pro series, which would be put on the bottom. Because these softboxes don't have as tight of a structure as the Rapid Pro, they need to go in the middle just to keep the tension where it's supposed to be, and you'll still have room for a grid, which we redesigned that grid to be more lightweight as well. So don't put it along the bottom edge here. You want to put it right in the middle, and then that gives you room for the grid. From there, I'm just going down to the bottom, and sometimes you're going to stick this kind of all over the place, but I'm just kind of stretching that down, and I'm spreading out those corners a little bit too, just so I can stick the corners of the Velcro in there, and again, slide that across, and then I'll just fold that kind of to the side. And this doesn't have to be perfect, guys. A lot of people stress about that. If you have a ripple or something in there like I just did, which isn't ideal, it's not the end of the world. We can adjust that after. And then just go in. So if I miss a little bit, pull it back, adjust it. Here I pulled it a bit too tight. So you can just go through, close in any gaps that you want to. But again, it's not critical. Just any big gaps you want to close up and make sure that they're closed. But other than that, it's really simple. If you're doing that on the Octa box, you're just going to go each section. I'll give you a quick demo of how to do that. I've taken off our 24 by 36 for a second and thrown up a 36-inch Octa box, just to show you a little bit of the difference between how you install the diffusion. One thing I wanted to mention before I did that is these elastics in here. If you ever have one of these pop off, they just hook on. There's little tabs in there. So they shouldn't come off, but if they do, if you're wondering where it goes, just loop it back around there so the fabric on the back stays tight. Now with the Octa box, you can see obviously we have the 8 different sides, and we want to kind of just stretch that out. And it's easiest to start at the top here, and again, kind of going roughly in the middle. I'm not going to install a grid on this, so it doesn't really matter. If you're not installing the grid, you can even go closer to the top if you want. But I'm just going to the corners, making sure that that's kind of flexed out so I can get the fabric all the way over there. And you're just going to go around. I'm not paying too much close attention to it. Go side to side. After that, and all I'm trying to do is just keep that tension even. I can see like I'm on a diagonal there, not a big deal. Go down, and then in here, and then right on there. And so that's really rough. I would do that a lot better if I was going to actually be shooting. But just so you can see, start at the top, work your way down to the bottom, and use gravity as your friend. I'm going to put our 24 by 36 back on so I can install the grid, but I wanted to show you another feature of the Rapid Snap that isn't recommended for the Rapid Pro series, which is the previous one. I have the diffuser on the front here, and because I have no inner mechanism, it's not going to hurt the softbox to collapse it with the diffusion on. So what I would do is just make sure that kind of tucks in there. And if I don't want to be installing that every time I go to a shoot, it's not a big deal to just leave that on. And I wrap it up like that. It makes it a little bit bulkier, but you can see it's really easy to just leave that on. And then when you're ready to shoot, again, just snap it into place and you don't have to redo that. So that's one of the reasons why this fabric is a little bit looser compared to the Rapid Pro. It's just to give it an extra little bit of room so you can snap those together so you don't have excessive tension on it. Let's install our Honeycomb grid now. These are purchased separately for every softbox. So if you want to pick one of these up, you can get it on the drop down, or you can purchase it individually if you just want to get the softbox now and purchase this later down the road. They're all going to come in just a nylon pouch there. And essentially all this is a whole bunch of fabric sewn together with a Velcro strip down it. Now, if you have the previous version, the Rapid Pro, you might notice that this just has a skinny patch of Velcro going down it, whereas the Rapid Pro, the whole thing was Velcro. And we did that on purpose to save some weight, because big soft boxes like a 60-inch, once you put all that weight on the front of it, they wanted to sag a little bit. So we've done that on purpose just to reduce that. Now that being said, that's why we went into the middle here. This grid is going to extend past the edge a little bit, and it's designed to do that so you don't have to worry that you've installed it wrong or anything. This is really just basic to install. One thing I should mention before I even go any further is that to put these away, what you don't want to do is crumple them up. You don't want to like bend all of the inner honeycomb. So either holding it like that and like putting it into a strip, or just lay it on a table flat, and that will just kind of align everything for you so you can get it into the bag. You know, scrunching up a diffuser is fine. The wrinkles aren't going to matter. You just don't want to have all of these completely bent because it will affect the performance over time. So I'm just going to open this up. I can see my general shape there. I have the two ends. And I'm just going to go to the softbox, and I'm just going to do this roughly, guys. If I was doing this for real for a shoot, I'd probably take a little bit more care and time. So tack the corners. I'm going to find the bottom here and then just stretch it out again all the way to the bottom. You might have to adjust it a little bit. Tack the corners again. Just bring that Velcro. And this isn't rocket science, like it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to affect it at all. You just don't want any like big gaps like that. So close stuff like that. And you can see that that hangs over about 1/2 inch, which is fine. Go to the other side here and just work my way down. And there you have it, the grid is installed. So grids are really nice if you want to control spill from the light. So if you're getting lens flare from a light that's aiming at your camera, a grid will fix that really quick. If you want to rim light someone and just really feather that light in, just light the edge, or there's really a million uses you can use grids for. Again, they're sold individually for each size of softbox, so be sure to pick those up on the website. I show you how you can fold the softbox with the outer diffuser on. You do not want to do that with the grid. The grid always needs to come off when you're packaging it. Now I know the temptation is to go just anywhere to the corner here, grab that and just rip it off. Sure, go ahead and do that, but these are very fragile. Each little square is sewn in there, and it's very lightweight to save weight. So you just want to go through, and this is probably very noisy in the microphone, but just take it off in a reasonable manner rather than just grabbing a corner and ripping the whole thing. So as long as I'm putting a little bit of tension on there, I'm not putting all of that force directly on the grid. So again, once it's off, you can hold it up like that to get it nice and flat, or put it on the table and then pack it away back in the nylon pouch. We have 10 different options in the Rapid Snap softboxes. So how do I choose between these? Do I get an Octa box, do I get a strip box, or just go for a classic rectangle? There's a lot of considerations to think about, and you might be overwhelmed just trying to choose one. Let me just explain a couple of the fundamental differences between the different shapes. If you go with an Octa box, the idea behind this is that it mimics the shape of the sun, obviously being round. Round catch lights in the eyes are often thought to be more natural because it does look like the sun. So if you were outside shooting a portrait, it would look more natural than a square softbox, which normally isn't found in nature. Another thing about the Octabox is that they're really nice if you're using them outside. They have extra structure in them, so they have more rods so they can withstand a little bit more wind tolerance. Going to a strip, these are really nice because you can orientate them either vertical or horizontal, and you get a nice hard lateral side light when they're in this vertical position. These are often used for sports portraits or full-length portraits where you really want to emphasize that vertical length. You can throw a grid on there and really rim light a person really nicely. Or if you have products that are like long, narrow, like lamps or even wine bottles, you could use a small Octa, or not a small Octa, a small strip box like this, and really emphasize that whole length without a round catch light being distracting on a vertical product. Going to a standard like 24 by 36 here, we have these in a number of different sizes, and the best thing about these is they mimic the natural window shape. So you can really replicate light coming through a window if you want. They're also very soft as well for normal portrait use. A big difference between a rectangle softbox and an Octabox is that we can orientate a rectangle softbox either vertical or horizontal, where it doesn't really matter where we change the Octabox to, it's going to stay essentially the same shape. So if we want to emphasize different lighting aspects on a subject, we do have that extra option to turn it on a diagonal, vertical, horizontal, wherever you want to go. We get asked all the time, what softbox do I choose for the softest light? Well, as a general principle, there's a lot of things that come into play, but as a general rule, you can think that the larger the softbox, the softer the light is going to be. Now, distance really plays a role in that, but if I was to put up a softbox right beside me here on 4 different sizes, the biggest one would be the softest because it is the largest light source. Now, if I'm comparing this to an Octabox, say a 36-inch right beside, the light characteristics other than the shape of the light is going to be very similar. But if I go to a bigger Octabox compared to this, that one's going to be a little bit softer. So just as a general rule of thumb, the bigger the softbox, the softer it is. So there you go, guys. That's everything you need to know about the Strobepro Rapid Snap softboxes. Whether you choose an octagon, a strip box, or just a rectangle, we have 10 different sizes for you to choose from. We also have 5 different Speedring mounts, so you can mount to whichever light that you have. Be sure to pick up an optional grid as well if you want to control the light even more. As I told you before, these are the lightest, the smallest, most compact softboxes that we've ever made. And again, remember, the best thing about these is that they just snap together. If you're still using an old softbox that uses rods, do yourself a favor and upgrade to the Strobepro Rapid Snap. Until next time, I'm Jesse at strobepro.com, and enjoy creating.